You know what they say about wedding days, don't you? That they are supposed to be the happiest moment of your life. Champagne, flowers, everyone crying tears of joy. Yeah, not for Morag MacDougall. Right now, she's running through the rain-soaked streets of Edinburgh's old town like her life depends on it. Because it does. Her wedding dress, what's left of it, is torn at the hem, dragging through puddles of filth and broken glass. Mud splattered up to her knees. Blood seeping through the sleeve of her gown where someone grabbed her. Hard. Left marks. Thunder rolls overhead like the sky itself is angry. Lightning splits the darkness, illuminating the narrow alley she's stumbled into. Stone walls press in on either side. Cold. Ancient. Unforgiving. She collapses against the wall, gasping for breath. Her lungs burn. Her legs shake. Behind her, she can still hear them. Voices. Shouting. Laughing. Mocking her like she's some kind of sick joke. Morag MacDougall married a homeless man. What a disgrace to the family. She chose a beggar over her inheritance. Her grandmother's voice is the loudest in her memory. Sharp. Cutting. Final. You're dead to us now, Morag. Dead. Dead. That word echoes in her skull as she presses her back against the stone, trying to disappear into the shadows. Trying to become nothing. Because maybe if she's nothing, they'll stop chasing her. Stop hating her. Stop wanting her gone. But then she looks down at her hands, and everything changes. They are trembling, shaking so hard she can barely hold them still. But that's not what makes her heart stop. It's the glow, faint at first, like moonlight trapped beneath her skin. Silver light pulses through her veins, flickering with each panicked breath she takes. It spreads from her fingertips up her wrists, tracing patterns she doesn't understand. Ancient symbols she's never seen but somehow recognizes deep in her bones. No, 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 no. Not now. Not here. She's spent 23 years hiding this, burying it, pretending it doesn't exist. Every time it tried to surface, she shoved it back down, locked it away, told herself she was normal, that she was just like everyone else. But she's not. She's never been. And whatever this thing is inside her, this forbidden, terrifying power that's been sleeping in her blood since the day she was born, it's waking up. And it doesn't care that she's bleeding, doesn't care that she's scared, doesn't care that she's alone in a dark alley with nowhere to run. It wants out. She hears footsteps, heavy, deliberate, getting closer. Her breath catches in her throat. She presses herself harder against the wall, praying the shadows will hide her, praying they'll walk past, praying this nightmare will end. But prayers don't work for girls like her. The silver glow intensifies, brighter now, painfully bright. She can feel the heat building in her chest, spreading through her ribs like wildfire. Her skin burns. Her heart pounds so hard it feels like it's going to explode. Please, she whispers to herself, to the power, to whatever God might be listening. Not now, not again. But the footsteps don't stop, the voices don't fade, and the silver light keeps growing, crackling around her fingers like trapped lightning ready to strike. Morag MacDougall thought marrying a homeless man would be the worst decision of her life. She was wrong, because what they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that she carried something ancient, something forbidden, something that had been waiting in her bloodline for centuries. And tonight, in this rain-soaked alley, with nowhere left to run and no one left to save her, it's about to be unleashed. Hold on. Stop right there. Before we go any further, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest with me. Do you believe in hidden power? In people being more than they seem? In the idea that the person the world laughs at might actually be the one destined to change everything? Because if you do, if any part of you feels that pull, that curiosity, that need to know what happens next, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. I'm serious. Here at Gracie Werewolf Storybank, we don't just tell stories. We reveal truths that burn. We uncover legends that have been buried for centuries, And trust me when I say this, you do not want to miss what happens next. Because Morag, she's not just running from her family. She's running from a destiny she doesn't understand yet. And the man she married, the homeless man everyone mocked her for choosing, is about to reveal something that will shatter everything you think you know. Now, let's find out who's hunting her, and why they are about to regret it. Chapter 2. The rain doesn't stop. If anything, it gets worse. Harder. Like the sky is trying to wash away everything that's about to happen. But some things can't be washed away. Through the downpour, through the darkness, a shadow moves. Deliberate. Purposeful. Not running like Morag. Not stumbling. Walking. Like he owns every inch of ground his feet touch. A man steps into the alley. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Wearing a coat that's seen better years. Ragged at the edges. Patches sewn in by hand. Collar pulled up against the storm. His boots are worn. His clothes hang loose. To anyone watching, he looks like exactly what he appears to be. Nothing. Nobody. A man the world forgot. But his eyes. God, his eyes. They glow amber in the darkness. Piercing. Predatory. Ancient. The three men who've been hunting Morag freeze. Just stop dead in their tracks like someone flipped a switch in their brains. Fear does that. Real fear. The kind that bypasses logic and goes straight to instinct. Run, their bodies scream. Run now, but pride is a stupid thing, and men fueled by hate rarely listen to their survival instincts. One of them, thick-necked, scarred knuckles, the kind of guy who's used to being the biggest threat in any room, steps forward. "Who the hell are you?" he snarls. The stranger doesn't answer. He just tilts his head. Slowly, studying them the way a wolf studies a rabbit. Calculating. Patient. Already knowing how this ends. His name is Hamish Campbell. And Morag doesn't know it yet. Can't possibly know it yet. But the homeless man she married 3 days ago in a registry office with no guests and no flowers, the man her family spat on, the man the world looked at and saw nothing worth seeing. He's something far older than any of them can imagine. Far deadlier. Hamish speaks. His voice is low. Quiet. But it cuts through the storm like a blade. Leave. Now. That's it. 2 words. No threat. No posturing. Just a simple command delivered with the kind of authority that makes kingdoms kneel. The men laugh. Of course they do. Because he looks homeless. Powerless. Harmless. One of them pulls a knife. Steel glints in the rain. Big mistake. What happens next takes less than 10 seconds. Hamish moves like liquid violence. Like something that's spent centuries perfecting the art of ending threats. No wasted motion. No hesitation. 1 second he's standing still. The next is a blur of controlled devastation. The first man goes down hard, unconscious before he hits the cobblestones. The second tries to swing the knife. Hamish catches his wrist mid-arc, twists, and the weapon clatters away. A single strike to the jaw, and that one drops too. The third one, the smart one, tries to run. Hamish is faster, grabs him by the collar, spins him around, and puts him down with a precision that speaks of training, of experience, of lifetimes spent in situations exactly like this. And here's the thing that should terrify anyone watching. He didn't shift, didn't transform, didn't unleash whatever beast lives beneath his skin. He handled 3 grown men with violence in their hearts, using nothing but human hands and centuries of knowledge. Silence falls, just the rain now, and breathing. Hamish turns. Slowly, his amber eyes find Morag pressed against the wall, silver light still flickering around her fingertips like dying stars. She's staring at him, wide-eyed, terrified, but not of the men on the ground, of him. He speaks her name. Just her name. Morag. She flinches like he struck her, because how does he know? They've barely spoken since the wedding. A few words exchanged at the registry office. Nothing real. Nothing deep. She doesn't know him. She married him out of desperation, out of spite, out of a need to escape her family's suffocating control. But she doesn't know him. Does she? How do you know my name? Her voice shakes. Not with fear exactly. With something else. Something deeper. Hamish steps closer. Rain streams down his face, plastering his dark hair to his forehead. Water drips from his jaw. He looks at her with those impossible amber eyes and says something that changes everything. Because I've been watching you. For a very long time. Morag's back presses harder against the stone wall. The silver glow around her hands intensifies. Warning. Defense. Power she can't control threatening to explode. Stay back, she whispers, but there's defiance in her voice too. Strength. I don't know what I am, but I can hurt you. Hamish stops walking. Holds up his hands. Not in surrender. In understanding. When he speaks again, his voice is gentle. But there's pain in it. Old pain. The kind that's been carried for lifetimes. I know what you are, Morag. Her breath catches. That's why I married you. Time stops. The rain keeps falling. The storm keeps raging. The unconscious men keep bleeding on the cobblestones. But in this moment, in this alley, between these two people who are so much more than they appear, everything shatters. Every assumption Morag made about her marriage. Every lie she told herself about why this stranger agreed to bind his life to hers. Every desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, she could escape her cursed bloodline and live a normal life. Gone. Because Hamish Campbell didn't marry her by accident. He didn't marry her out of pity. He married her because he knows exactly what she is, what she's capable of, what sleeps in her blood. And that means one of two things. Either he's here to use her, or he's here to save her. Morag stares at this man, her husband, this stranger, this mystery wrapped in ragged clothes and amber eyes, and realizes with bone-deep certainty that nothing about her life has been coincidence. Not the curse in her blood, not the family that cast her out, not the wedding 3 days ago, and definitely not the man standing in front of her right now, looking at her like she's the answer to a question he's been asking for centuries. Who are you? She whispers. Hamish's lips curve into something that might be a smile, might be sorrow, someone who's been waiting a very long time for you to ask that question. The silver light around Morag's hands flares brighter, and somewhere in the distance, something howls. Not human, not entirely wolf either, something in between, something ancient, something that knows the Alpha King has finally found his queen. Chapter 3. The chapel is older than memory. Stone walls thick enough to keep secrets. Stained glass windows long since shattered, boarded up with rotting wood. But inside, away from the storm, away from the world that wants her dead, there's candlelight. Dozens of candles. Maybe hundreds. Flickering in the darkness like trapped souls. Hamish guides Morag inside, his hand on her elbow, gentle but firm. She's shaking. Not from cold, though her wedding dress is soaked through. Not from fear, though that's there too. From something deeper. From the recognition that her entire life has been leading to this moment. He drapes a thick wool blanket around her shoulders. It smells like wood smoke and pine. Like forest she's never walked through but somehow remembers. She should pull away. Should demand answers. Should run. But she doesn't. Because for the first time since the silver flames appeared when she was 7 years old, someone is looking at her without horror in their eyes. Morag MacDougall wasn't supposed to exist. That's the truth nobody ever told her directly, but she felt it in every disappointed look from her mother, every closed door from her father, every whispered conversation that stopped the moment she entered a room. She was born on a blood moon. Rare. Dangerous. The kind of celestial event that midwives cross themselves against. Her mother labored for 17 hours while the moon turned crimson overhead. And when Morag finally came screaming into the world, the attending doctor said the child's eyes glowed silver for exactly 3 seconds before turning normal. He was dismissed the next morning, paid handsomely to forget what he saw. But you can't pay away destiny. The MacDougalls were once something more than the wealthy, respectable family they pretended to be. Centuries ago, Before history was written in the sanitized way it's taught in schools, they were wardens, protectors, guardians of the barrier between the mortal world and the realm of the old wolves, creatures of moon and magic that most humans have forgotten ever existed. When the wars ended, when the treaties were signed in blood and silver, the power was sealed away, locked behind rituals and binding spells. The MacDougall bloodline was supposed to become ordinary, normal, human. But power like that doesn't just dissipate. It sleeps, waits, hungers, and sometimes, once in a generation, it wakes up in a child who has no idea what they are carrying. Morag was 7 years old the first time it manifested. She'd been sent to bed early for talking back to her governess. Angry, frustrated, feeling the injustice of childhood punishment burning in her chest. She lay in her bed, staring at her hands in the darkness, wishing she could make them understand. Wishing she had the power to make adults listen. Then her hands started glowing. Silver light, soft at first, then brighter. Then her bedroom curtains caught fire. Not normal fire. Silver flames that didn't smoke, didn't spread naturally, just consumed fabric like it was hungry. Her mother's screams brought the entire household running. Her father doused the flames with water that hissed and steamed. Servants crossed themselves. The governess quit that night. Priests were called. Not the friendly parish priest who baptized babies and blessed harvests. Other priests, older ones, men who knew words in languages that predated Latin. They examined young Morag like she was a specimen. A problem. A mistake. The bloodline should have ended, one of them said. This shouldn't be possible. But it was possible. It was happening. And the MacDougall family did what wealthy families have always done with problems they can't control. They locked it away. Morag was confined to her room for 3 months, told never to speak of what happened, never to tell anyone, never to let the flames come back. "You'll curse it," her grandmother said, standing in the doorway with cold eyes. "But you're still a MacDougall, so you will learn to bury this, or you'll be sent away." 7 years old, and already learning that her existence was shameful. For 16 years, she buried it. The silver flame, the strange pull she felt every full moon, the dreams that woke her gasping, dreams of running through forests on 4 legs, of hunting beneath starlight, of wolves with eyes like galaxies calling her name. She became an expert at pretending, at being the perfect daughter, at smiling through social events while something wild and desperate clawed at her insides, begging to be released. She almost made it, almost convinced herself she was normal. Until 3 months ago, the MacDougall Family Gala, annual tradition, hundreds of guests in designer gowns and tailored suits, champagne flowing, orchestra playing, everything elegant and controlled and suffocating. Morag stood in the corner, nursing a drink she didn't want, when her cousin Isla approached. Beautiful Isla. Perfect Isla. Isla who'd always known exactly how to twist the knife. Still no prospects. Morag. Isla had smiled, vicious and sweet. Such a shame. Though I suppose no decent man wants damaged goods. Something inside Morag cracked. She felt the rage rising. Felt the silver flames stirring in her blood, tried to push it down like she'd done 1,000 times before. But this time it didn't listen. Her hands ignited. Silver fire erupted around her fingers, crawling up her arms. Guests screamed. Someone threw champagne on her like that would help. The orchestra stopped playing. And her grandmother, cold, powerful, unforgiving, stood on the grand staircase and pronounced judgment like a queen executing a traitor. "You are no longer part of this family. Leave. Tonight. And never come back." Cast out. Shamed. Alone. That's who Morag MacDougall is. A girl born with power she never asked for, raised to hate herself, punished for something beyond her control. Now she sits in this abandoned chapel, wrapped in a blanket that smells like forests and safety, staring at the floor because she can't bear to look at Hamish. "I'm a freak," she whispers. "A mistake." Hamish kneels in front of her, slowly, like approaching something wild that might bolt. He reaches out and gently lifts her chin, forcing her to meet his amber eyes. "No," he says, and there's steel in his voice. "Conviction. You're a warden. And the last of your kind." Morag's breath hitches. "Then why does it feel like a curse?" Hamish's expression softens. His thumb brushes her cheek, wiping away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. "Because you've never been shown what it's truly for." He takes her hand, the one that still trembles with residual silver light, places his over hers. His touch is warm, steady, grounding. "You were never meant to hide, Morag." His voice drops lower, intimate, like he's sharing the most important secret in the world. "You were meant to burn." And for the first time in her life, for the first time since she was 7 years old and her mother screamed at the sight of silver flames, Morag MacDougall wanted to believe someone. Wanted to believe she wasn't a mistake. Wanted to believe the fire inside her wasn't destruction. Wanted to believe this stranger she married might actually see something in her worth saving. The candles flicker around them. Shadows dance on ancient stone walls. And somewhere deep in her chest, the silver flame recognizes its keeper. Chapter 4. The standing stones hum with power. Ancient, primordial, the kind of energy that existed before humans gave things names. Morag stares at Hamish, at the man who isn't a man at all, and feels reality fracturing around her. His amber eyes glow brighter now. Not threatening, not predatory, just inevitable. Like watching sunrise after a lifetime of darkness. 3 centuries, she whispers. Her voice cracks. "You've been alive for 300 years. Hamish doesn't move, doesn't blink, just holds her gaze with the patience of something that's learned how to wait through generations of human lives burning out like candles. "Longer," he says, "but I've only been searching for 300. The silver flames on the stones pulse in rhythm with Morag's heartbeat. She feels it now. The connection, the pull, like invisible threads binding her to this place, to these stones, to the man standing in front of her wearing centuries like scars. Searching for what? Hamish takes 1 step closer. Just one. But it changes the air between them. Makes it heavy. Charged. "For you." Those 2 words land like an earthquake. Morag's legs threaten to give out. She grips the nearest stone for support, but the moment her palm touches ancient rock, visions explode behind her eyes. She sees a battlefield. Wolves the size of horses tearing through warriors. A woman with silver hair standing on a cliff, hands raised, flames pouring from her palms like waterfalls made of light. She's holding back an army. Alone. Powerful. Unbreakable. Behind her stands a wolf unlike any other. Massive. Black as midnight. Eyes burning amber. An alpha in every sense of the word. And the woman, she's protecting him. Buying him time. Sacrificing everything. The vision shifts. The woman is older now. Dying. Lying on stone exactly like these. The black wolf is human again, kneeling beside her, holding her hand. She's whispering something. A promise. A prophecy. Her last words before the light leaves her eyes. "When the flame returns, so will you." Morag gasps and jerks her hand away from the stone. She's back in the present. Back in her soaked wedding dress. Back in a body that feels too small for what she just witnessed. "That was her," she breathes. "The forest warden." "Elspeth," Hamish says softly. "My bonded mate. My queen. My everything." The grief in his voice is so raw it cuts. 300 years hasn't dulled it, hasn't healed it. He's been carrying this wound across centuries, and it's still bleeding. Morag looks at him, really looks at him, and sees it now. The exhaustion behind those ancient eyes. The weight of living while the person who made life worth living is gone. The desperate hope mixed with terror that maybe, just maybe, fate is giving him a second chance. "You think I'm her," Morag says. Not a question. An accusation. "You think I'm your dead mate reincarnated." "No." Hamish's response is immediate, firm. "You're not her. You're you." He moves closer. close enough that she can feel the heat radiating from his skin despite the rain, close enough to see the golden flecks in his amber eyes, close enough that running becomes impossible. But the power in your blood, the silver flame, that's hers. That's what makes you a warden, what makes you capable of standing between worlds, between human and wolf, between chaos and order. His hand reaches out, slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she doesn't, his fingers brush her cheek with heartbreaking gentleness. Elspeth made a bargain when she died, gave her power back to the bloodline, sealed it away, said it would sleep until the world needed it again. Until I needed it again. Morag's breath comes faster. Her heart pounds against her ribs like something trying to escape. And now, Hamish's thumb traces her jawline. The touch sends electricity down her spine. Not magic, not power, just pure, devastating attraction mixed with something older, something that recognizes him even though her conscious mind doesn't. Now the old enemies are waking. The shadow wolves that we defeated 3 centuries ago, they've been gathering strength, waiting, and they know I'm weak without my warden, without the one person who can channel the silver flame and keep them from tearing the veil between worlds. The pieces click together in Morag's mind. The attacks on her family, the constant feeling of being watched, the dreams of wolves with eyes like empty voids chasing her through forests. They've been hunting me, she realizes. Yes, and you married me to protect me. Partly. Hamish's other hand comes up, cradling her face between his palms. But also because the moment I saw you standing outside that registry office, defiant and terrified and so damn beautiful in your grandmother's rejection, I knew. His forehead touches hers. The intimacy of it steals her breath. I knew you were the one the prophecy promised, the warden who would rise when the Alpha King needed her most, the flame that would burn when darkness came calling. Morag closes her eyes, tries to process, tries to think, but it's impossible when he's this close, when centuries of loneliness are radiating off him in waves, when every cell in her body is screaming that this is right even though her brain insists it's insane. I don't know how to be what you need, she whispers. Then I'll teach you. I'm scared. So am I. That admission breaks something open in her chest, because Hamish Campbell, Alpha King, 300-year-old legend, man who just took down 3 attackers without breaking a sweat, is scared. Scared of failing her. Scared of losing her like he lost Elspeth. Scared that maybe fate is cruel enough to bring her back into his life just to destroy them both. Morag opens her eyes, meets his gaze, and makes a choice that will change everything. Teach me, she says. Show me what I'm supposed to be. Hamish's expression shifts. Hope floods those amber eyes. Desperate, painful hope. It won't be easy. Training a warden, awakening the full power, it takes time. Discipline. You'll have to face everything you've been running from, every flame you've buried, every instinct you've denied. I know. And there's something else. His voice drops, becomes darker, more dangerous. The bond between Warden and Alpha King, it's not just professional. It's primal, soul deep. Once we begin this path, once I start teaching you to channel the flame. He doesn't finish, doesn't need to. Morag understands. She felt it the moment he touched her in that alley. The pull, the recognition, the way her power responds to his presence like it's been waiting for him. This isn't just about training, about prophecy, about saving the world from shadow wolves. This is about 2 souls that were torn apart 300 years ago, finding each other again in different bodies, different lifetimes, but with the same devastating connection burning between them. I'm already married to you, Morag says. Her voice is steady now. Decided. Might as well see what that actually means. Hamish's laugh is low, almost broken with relief. He pulls her against his chest, wrapping his arms around her like she's the only solid thing in a universe determined to tear him apart. Against her ear, he whispers words that sound like prayer. I will protect you, train you, stand beside you, And if the shadow wolves come for you, they'll have to go through me first. Through every ounce of power I've gathered across 3 centuries. Through every instinct that screams you are mine to defend. Morag's hands grip his soaked coat. She breathes in the scent of him, rain and pine and something wild that makes her own wild things stir and stretch inside her chest. What happens now? She asks. Hamish pulls back just enough to look at her. His smile is fierce, predatory, beautiful. Now we stop running. Now we fight. Now I teach you how to be the weapon you were always meant to be. He takes her hand, the one still glowing faintly with silver light, brings it to his lips, kisses her knuckles with reverence that makes her knees weak. Now, my warden, my wife, my unexpected miracle. We burn the world down if we have to. Together. The standing stones flare brighter. The ancient runes pulse with approval. And somewhere in the forest beyond, wolves begin to howl. Not in warning, in welcome, because the Alpha King has found his flame. And heaven help anyone who tries to extinguish it. Chapter 5. Blood pools beneath Hamish's body. Too much blood. Dark against the moss and dead leaves. Steam rises from the wound where Fenella's teeth tore through muscle and sinew. Morag drops to her knees beside him. Her hands hover over the gash in his shoulder, shaking so violently she can barely hold them steady. Silver light flickers around her fingers, useless, chaotic, destructive. Everything she touches burns, or breaks. I don't know what to do, she chokes out. Tears blur her vision. Tell me what to do. Hamish Samba eyes meet hers. Even bleeding out in the dirt, there's strength in that gaze. Ancient, unbreakable. Breathe, he says. His voice is rough, strained, but calm. The power responds to emotion. Fear makes it wild. You need control. I can't. You can. His hand, clawed, still half-shifted, reaches up and grabs her wrist. His grip is iron. Grounding. Feel it. Don't fight it. Don't fear it. Just feel. Morag closes her eyes. Tries to block out the panic screaming through her nervous system. Tries to ignore the fact that the first person in her entire life who saw her as something other than broken is dying because of her. She breathes. In. Out. In. The silver flames respond. Stop crackling wildly. Start to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. Slower. Steadier. That's it, Hamish whispers. Blood trickles from the corner of his mouth. Now, put your hands on the wound. I'll hurt you. You'll heal me. Trust the flame. Trust yourself. Morag opens her eyes, looks at the torn flesh, at the blood, at the impossible task he's asking her to perform. She's never healed anything, never created, only destroyed. But she places her trembling hands over the wound anyway. The moment her palms touch his skin, something shifts. The silver light doesn't explode outward. It sinks inward, into him, through him, searching for damage and knitting it back together with threads of pure power. Hamish gasps. His back arches. Not pain, something else. Something that makes his pupils dilate and his claws retract. The wound beneath her hands begins to close. Slowly, muscle reconnecting, skin sealing. Holy gods, Morag breathes. Hamish's hand comes up and covers hers, holds her there even as the healing completes. His skin is hot, feverish. His chest heaves with each breath. That, he says roughly, is what a warden does. Life and death in your hands. Creation and destruction dancing on the same blade. Morag stays at him, at the place where moments ago there was a fatal wound, and now there's only smooth skin and faint scarring. She did that. Her cursed, terrible, uncontrollable power did that. Why didn't anyone teach me this? The question comes out broken, angry. Why did they make me believe I was only capable of hurting people? Hamish sits up, moves carefully but deliberately. His eyes never leave her face. Because people fear what they don't understand. And your family stopped understanding wardens the moment they decided to bury the old ways. They saw the flame and only remembered the wars, the destruction. They forgot about the healing, the protection, the balance. He reaches out and tucks a strand of wet hair behind her ear. The gesture is tender, intimate. It makes her breath catch. They taught you to hate yourself because they were afraid of what you'd become if you ever learned to love what you are. Those words hit harder than any of Fenella's attacks. Morag feels something crack open inside her chest. Years of shame, decades of self-loathing, a lifetime of believing she was a mistake. "What am I?" she whispers. Hamish's smile is fierce, proud, dangerous. He stands and pulls her up with him, doesn't let go of her hand. Fenella was right about one thing. You can't control it yet. That blast you released, it was raw instinct. Panic. If we'd been surrounded by humans instead of wolves, they'd be dead. All of them. The weight of that truth settles on Morag's shoulders. She looks at the scorch marks radiating outward from where she stood. Trees blackened, grass burned to ash. The silver flame didn't discriminate, didn't choose targets, just detonated with the force of her terror. "I could have killed you," she says quietly. "But you didn't." Hamish steps closer, close enough that she has to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "You directed it away from me. Even in panic, even with no training, your instincts protected your alpha." Your alpha. Those words do something to her. Make her pulse quicken. Make the silver light flare brighter around her fingertips without her conscious thought. Hamish notices. His nostrils flare. He scents the air between them like a predator catching something intoxicating on the wind. "Do you feel it?" His voice drops an octave, becomes something between human speech and wolf growl. The bond forming, the recognition between Warden and Alpha. It's not just about power, Morag. It's about resonance. He takes her glowing hand and places it over his heart. She feels it beating beneath her palm. Strong, steady, alive because she saved him. My wolf knows your flame, has been calling to it across centuries, across lifetimes. And your flame, he covers her hand with his. It's answering. Morag should pull away, should maintain distance, should remember that 3 days ago she married a stranger out of desperation, not destiny. But she doesn't pull away, because standing here in this destroyed forest, covered in mud and blood and rain, with silver fire dancing between them like visible electricity, she feels it too. The pull, the certainty, the rightness of his presence beside her. Fenella said, "I'm everyone's enemy." Morag says that Wardens enslaved wolves. Wardens maintained order. Hamish corrects. The old laws weren't slavery. They were protection. Rules that kept powerful beings from tearing each other and humans apart. Some wolves resented the structure. Fenella's bloodline especially. They wanted chaos, wanted to hunt without consequence, to take without restraint. His expression darkens, memory and anger mixing together. When Elspeth died, the laws died with her. No warden meant no enforcement. Wolves fractured into territories, started fighting each other. The Blackthorn Pack thrived in that chaos, grew powerful by breaking every sacred rule. And now they want to make sure I never become strong enough to bring those laws back. Exactly. Hamish's grip on her hand tightens, which is why we need to move. Fast. Fenella won't wait for you to master your power. She'll strike again. Harder. Smarter. Morag looks around at the devastation, at the evidence of her unleashed potential, at the thin line between salvation and annihilation that she walked tonight without even realizing it. "How long?" she asks. "How long until I can control this?" Hamish's jaw tightens. She sees the calculation behind his eyes, the weighing of honesty against hope. Traditionally, years. Elspeth trained for a decade before she could channel the flame without risk. Morag's heart sinks, but Hamish cups her face, forces her to see the determination burning in his amber gaze. "You're not starting from nothing. You've been suppressing this power your entire life, building pressure. The foundation is already there. We just need to teach you to direct it instead of dam it. How? His smile turns predatory, dangerous, thrilling. The old way. Pain. Pressure. Pushing you to your absolute limits until instinct becomes precision. Until the flame obeys your will instead of your fear. He leans in. His lips brush her ear. The intimacy sends shivers down her spine. I'm going to break you down and build you back up as the warden you were meant to be. And it's going to hurt. It's going to terrify you. You're going to hate me before you thank me. Morak swallows hard. Her pulse races, but she doesn't step back. When do we start? Hamish pulls back enough to meet her eyes. Respect and something darker, something hungry, flashes across his face. Now. Before she can process, he shifts. Not fully, just enough that his features sharpen. Become more wolf than man. His voice when he speaks is a command that resonates in her bones. Run. Morak blinks. What? Run. As fast as you can. Because I'm about to hunt you. And if I catch you before you learn to use the flame defensively, his grin is all teeth. We're going to have a very different kind of lesson. Fear spikes through her. Primal. Instinctive. But beneath it, excitement. Challenge. The thrill of finally being allowed to let the wild thing inside her off its leash. Morak turns. And runs. Behind her, Hamish's howl splits the night. Not a threat. A promise. The training has begun. And neither of them will emerge unchanged. Chapter 6. The cabin is older than modern Scotland. Stones held together by memory and moss. A single room with a fireplace that's seen generations of flames. The roof doesn't leak. The walls keep out wind. It's survived because nobody remembers it exists. Perfect hiding place for an alpha king and his untrained warden. Morak sits cross-legged on worn floorboards, watching firelight dance across Hamish's bare back. His skin tells stories. Scars crisscross his shoulders, some old, silvered with age, others newer. Fresh pink tissue from tonight's battle already fading as his supernatural healing works overtime. But it's the mark between his shoulder blades that holds her attention. A symbol burned so deep it never fully healed. A circle with radiating lines. Ancient. Deliberate. What is that? She asks quietly. Hamish doesn't turn around. Just stares into flames that reflect in his amber eyes like twin suns. A binding mark. Put there the night I became Alpha King. 302 years ago. His voice carries weight. The exhaustion of centuries compressed into simple words. It connects me to every wolf in my bloodline. Living and dead. I feel them. Their pain. Their joy. Their deaths. He pauses. Every. Single. One. Morak's chest tightens. She imagines carrying that burden. Feeling hundreds, thousands of souls tethered to yours. Never alone. Never at peace. Does it hurt? Always. The honesty in that single word breaks something in her. Because Hamish Campbell doesn't just carry his own trauma. He carries everyone's. He finally turns to face her. Firelight carves shadows across his face, making him look exactly what he is, ancient, powerful, and desperately tired. The night Elspeth died, I felt it through the mark. Felt her life cut short. Felt the warden bond sever like someone tearing my soul in half. His jaw clenches. I've spent 3 centuries with that wound open, bleeding, searching for something to make it stop. Morak's throat constricts. And you think I'm that something? I know you are. He moves closer, sits across from her with the fire between them. The flames create a barrier and a bridge simultaneously. When I saw you outside that registry office, stubborn, terrified, wearing defiance like armor, the bond stirred for the first time since she died. Not the same. Not Elspeth returning. Something new. Something that recognized you specifically. His eyes lock onto hers with intensity that makes her pulse race. My wolf knew before I did. Knew that the flame sleeping in your blood was waiting for permission to wake. Knew that if I could just get close enough, stay near enough, you'd start to remember what you're supposed to be. I don't remember anything, Morag protests. But even as she says it, doubt creeps in. Because she does remember. Not memories exactly. More like muscle memory. Instincts that don't make sense. The way her power responded when Hamish was hurt. The way healing came naturally even though she'd never tried it before. Your bloodline remembers, Hamish says. Wardens pass power through generations. Each one carries echoes of those who came before. Elspeth's knowledge lives in you, buried, waiting. He reaches across the fire. Palm up, offering. Let me show you. Morag stares at his hand. Rough skin. Calluses from centuries of survival. Claws retracted but visible beneath human nails. This hand has killed. Protected. Held the woman he loved as she died. She should be afraid. Instead, she places her hand in his. The connection is immediate, electric. The silver mark on her wrist, the crescent moon she's had since birth and never understood, flares bright. Hamish's binding mark pulses in response. And suddenly Morag isn't just sitting in a cabin anymore. She's standing in a throne room made of living trees. Branches form walls. Roots create floors. Moonlight streams through a canopy that shouldn't exist indoors but does. And there's a woman on a throne carved from silver birch. Elspeth. Long silver hair. Eyes that glow exactly like Morag's do when the flame rises. She wears authority like skin. Beside her stands a massive black wolf with amber eyes. Even in wolf form, Hamish radiates power. Morag watches, somehow present in this memory that isn't hers, as Elspeth stands. As she addresses an assembly of wolves and humans gathered before her. The laws exist not to control you, Elspeth's voice rings clear. Strong. But to protect you. From yourselves. From each other. From the chaos that consumed us before the first wardens rose. A wolf challenges her. Large. Scarred. Familiar. Fenella's ancestor. You cage us with your rules, warden. Make us weak. Elspeth doesn't flinch. I make you survive. Without structure, you'll tear each other apart within a generation. History proves this. Every time. The memory shifts. Battle. Blood. Elspeth standing on a cliff exactly like Morag saw before, holding back an army with nothing but silver flame and unbreakable will. Hamish fighting beside her. With her. Two halves of an unstoppable whole. Then the final memory. The one that guts Morag. Elspeth lying in Hamish's arms. Dying. Not from wounds. From something worse. The flame consuming her from inside. Burning too hot. Too long. She gave everything to win that last battle and there's nothing left. Promise me, Elspeth whispers. Blood on her lips. Promise you'll find them. The next warden. However long it takes. Hamish's voice breaks. I can't do this without you. You can. You will. She touches his face with a trembling hand. The flame doesn't die. It just sleeps, waiting for the right vessel. When they wake, and they will, you need to be there. Guide them. Protect them. Love them the way you loved me. There's no one else. There will be. Elspeth's smile is sad. Beautiful. Promise me, Hamish. Promise you won't give up. And Hamish, Alpha King, warrior, legend, breaks. Tears stream down his face as he holds the only woman he's ever loved and watches her slip away. I promise. The memory shatters. Morag gasps and jerks her hand back. She's on the cabin floor again. Fire crackling. Reality solid around her, but tears are streaming down her face. Because she felt it. Felt Elspeth's determination. Felt Hamish's devastation. Felt the weight of a promise made 300 years ago that led directly to this moment. Hamish is watching her. Guarded. Vulnerable. Waiting to see how she'll react to the truth he just showed her. You kept your promise, Morag says quietly. Her voice shakes. You found me. I did. But I'm not her. I'll never be her. I know. Hamish moves around the fire. sits beside her instead of across from her, close enough that their shoulders touch. I don't want you to be her. I want you to be you. Morag looks at him, really looks, at the man who's carried impossible grief across centuries, who married a stranger because fate whispered she might be the answer, who's putting everything, his heart, his hope, his reason for surviving, into the hands of a woman who can barely control her own power. What if I fail you? The fee tastes like ash on her tongue. Hamish's hand finds hers, laces their fingers together. The touch is grounding, real. Then we fail together. Something about those words, the absolute certainty in them, cracks the last wall Morag's been holding around her heart. Because nobody has ever promised to fail with her. Everyone in her life demanded perfection, punished mistakes, cast her out the moment she couldn't hide what she was. But Hamish, his offering partnership in failure, solidarity in struggle, it's the most honest thing anyone's ever given her. She leans into him, not thinking, just responding to the pull that's been building since he first touched her in that alley. Her head finds his shoulder. His arm wraps around her waist. They fit together like puzzle pieces carved from the same stone. I'm terrified, she admits into the silence. Good. Fee keeps you sharp. I don't know if I can be what you need. You already are. Morag tilts her head up, finds Hamish looking down at her. The firelight catches in his amber eyes, making them glow, making him look exactly what he is, predator and protector wrapped in human skin. The air between them shifts, charges, the bond pulses. Silver and amber light dance across their skin where they touch. She could kiss him. Should kiss him. Wants to kiss him so badly it physically hurts. But fear holds her back. Because kissing Hamish means accepting this. All of it. The destiny. The danger. The probability that she'll get him killed just like Elspeth did. Hamish reads the conflict on her face. His thumb traces her jawline with heartbreaking gentleness. We have time, he says softly. I've waited 300 years. I can wait a little longer. But his eyes, God, his eyes, tell a different story. They are hungry, desperate, barely holding back 3 centuries of loneliness that finally found something worth reaching for. Morag makes herself pull back, put distance between them before she does something reckless, before she surrenders to the magnetic pull trying to drag them together. Teach me, she says, voice steadier than she feels. Show me how to control this before Fenella comes back. Before I hurt someone she stops. Can't finish that sentence. Hamish's smile is knowing. Sad. Patient. Tomorrow. Training starts at dawn. Tonight. He stands and offers his hand again. You sleep. Rest. Let your body recover from channeling power you've suppressed for years. Morag takes his hand. Lets him pull her up. The cabin has 1 bed. Rough furs. Big enough for 2. Her heart races at the implications. Hamish reads her again. I'll take the floor. You don't have to. Yes, I do. His voice is firm. Because if I lie beside you right now, with the bond this strong and control this thin, I won't be able to stop myself from claiming you the way every instinct is screaming at me to do. The raw honesty steals her breath. Heat floods her cheeks. Other places too. And you're not ready for that, Hamish continues. His eyes have gone full wolf, amber bleeding into white. You're not ready for what it means when an alpha claims his mate, what it does to the bond, to the power, to both of us. Morag swallows hard. What does it do? Hamish's smile is pure danger, pure promise, everything. He turns away before she can respond, grabs furs and makes a bed on the floor, puts his back to her, giving her privacy, giving himself distance. Morag climbs into the actual bed, still wearing her ruined wedding dress. She should feel ridiculous. Instead, she feels safe, protected, seen in ways she's never experienced. The fire burns low. Shadows dance. Outside, wind howls through Highland Hills. And Morag MacDougall, cursed bloodline, failed daughter, accidental warden, falls asleep 10 feet away from an alpha king who's been waiting 3 centuries for her to exist. Tomorrow, training begins. Tomorrow, everything changes. But tonight, for the first time in her life, she's not alone with her demons. And that's enough. Chapter 7. Morag runs through corridors carved from mountain stone. Ancient, cold, built by wolves who understood that some meetings require walls thick enough to contain violence. Behind her, voices echo, arguing, shouting. The Highland Council tearing itself apart over whether she's salvation or extinction. She doesn't care about their debate. All she can see is Hamish's face. The hesitation. The moment, just one terrible, infinite moment, where he didn't defend her, where he weighed his people against her and the scales tipped toward doubt. Her chest feels like it's caving in, like someone reached inside and crushed her heart with a fist made of centuries-old betrayal. She trusted him. Stupid. So incredibly stupid. The silver flames erupt around her hands. Not controlled. Not directed. Just raw power responding to raw pain. She stumbles into an empty chamber, some kind of armory, weapons lining the walls, and collapses against cold stone. Breathe, she tells herself. Uses Hamish's own words against the agony. Just breathe. But breathing hurts. Existing hurts. Because for 3 days she allowed herself to believe the impossible. That someone saw her as more than a curse. That maybe, just maybe, she'd found a place where the broken pieces of her could fit. Footsteps approach. Fast. Determined. Hamish appears in the doorway. His amber eyes find her immediately, tracking her like prey. Like he's hardwired to know exactly where she is at all times. Morag! Don't! Her voice cracks. The silver flames flare brighter, forcing him to stop several feet away. Don't come closer. Let me explain. Explain what? She's on her feet now, shaking. Power crackling through the air like visible electricity. Explain how you hesitated. How you stood there and let my cousin, the woman who destroyed my life, poison everyone against me while you said nothing. Hamish's jaw clenches. Pain flashes across his face. The council needed to hear. I needed you to defend me. The words rip out of her. Desperate. Furious. I needed my husband, my alpha, to stand beside me and tell them I'm worth the risk. But you couldn't do that, could you? Because deep down, you're afraid she's right. That's not true. Isn't it? Morag's laugh is broken. Bitter. You've been carrying Elspeth's death for 300 years, blaming yourself. And now you're terrified I'll do the same thing. That I'll burn too bright and leave you alone again. The accusation hits its target. Hamish flinches like she physically struck him. So that's it, Morag continues, voice going quiet. Deadly. You don't want a partner. You want a controlled flame. Something you can direct and contain and make sure never burns you the way she did. Stop. Hamish's voice drops to alpha command. The kind of tone that makes wolves bare their throats in submission. But Morag isn't a wolf. Make me. The challenge hangs in the air. Dangerous. Electric. Testing exactly how far this bond goes and whether it can survive the weight of truth. Hamish moves. Fast. Predator speed. He's across the room before Morag can blink, backing her against the wall. His hands cage her in on either side. Not touching, but close enough that she feels the heat radiating off his skin. You want the truth. His eyes have gone full wolf, amber bleeding into something primal. Fine. Yes, I'm terrified. Every moment I look at you, I see Elspeth dying. I see the flame consuming her from the inside because she gave everything to protect me, to save my people. And it killed her. His forehead drops to hers. The intimacy of it steals her breath even through the anger. So yes, when that elder asked me to choose, I hesitated. Not because I doubt you, because I'm afraid of what loving you will cost. Afraid of watching you sacrifice yourself the way she did. Afraid that 300 years of waiting will end with me holding your corpse and making another promise I can't keep. Morag's breath comes faster. The silver flames flicker, responding to his proximity, to his pain, to the devastating honesty bleeding out of him. But here's what I realized in that chamber, Hamish continues. His hands move from the wall to her face, cupping her jaw, holding her like she's precious, breakable. I'm more afraid of losing you by pushing you away than I am of losing you to the flame. At least if the power takes you, I'll know we fought together, that I didn't abandon you when you needed me most. Tears blur Morag's vision. She wants to stay angry, wants to hold on to the betrayal. But his words are dismantling every defense she's built. I should have defended you immediately, Hamish says. Voice rough. Should have told the council that you're mine to protect and anyone who questions that can challenge me directly. I failed you, and I'm sorry. The apology lands like absolution, like permission to let go of the hurt. But before Morag can respond, another voice cuts through the moment. How touching. They both whip around. Isla stands in the doorway, no longer wearing the elegant mask she presented to the council. Now she looks feral, hungry, dangerous. And she's not alone. Wolves flank her. 6 of them. Pack formation. Eyes glowing in the torchlight. Hamish immediately shifts his body in front of Morag. Protective, instinctive. Isla, he growls, what are you doing? Isla's smile is poison. Finishing what I started when I drove my dear cousin from her family. See, I thought exile would be enough. Thought she'd disappear into obscurity and I'd finally claim the MacDougall fortune without competition. She steps into the room. The wolves follow, circling, predatory. But then she married you, and suddenly my powerless, pathetic cousin became interesting again. Became a threat. Morag feels ice flood her veins. You're working with Fenella. Smart girl. Isla's eyes flash. Not quite human. Not quite wolf. Something in between that makes Morag's instincts scream danger. The Blackthorn Pack made me an offer. Help them eliminate the warden before she becomes unstoppable, and they'll help me eliminate everyone standing between me and the MacDougall Empire. You'd betray your own species. Hamish's voice is deadly calm. The kind of calm that comes before devastation. Species. Isla laughs. I'm done pretending to be human. Hamish, I've been half-wolf since birth. Hidden. Suppressed. Just like darling Morag here suppressed her flames. But unlike my cousin, I'm not afraid of what I am. She shifts. Partially. Enough that her features sharpen. Claws extend. Fangs drop. The MacDougall bloodline didn't just carry the warden gift. It carried wolf blood too. Diluted. Recessive. But in me, her smile is all teeth. It's thriving. Morag's world tilts. Everything she thought she knew about her family fractures. Wolves in the bloodline. Power hidden in genetics. Isla. Perfect. Cruel Isla, carrying the same supernatural heritage she's been mocking Morag for having. You're insane. Morag breathes. I'm evolved. Isla signals her wolves. And you in the way. They attack. Hamish shifts fully. Massive black wolf erupting from human skin. He meets the first attacker mid-lunge, jaws closing around a throat. Blood sprays. The wolf drops. But there are too many. They overwhelm him through numbers. Drag him down. Claws tearing. Fangs seeking vital arteries. Morag screams. Power explodes outward. Silver flames detonate through the chamber. Wolves yelp and scatter. The air smells like burning fur and ozone. Isla doesn't retreat. She walks through the flames like they are nothing, grabs Morag by the throat, slams her against the wall hard enough to crack stone. You don't get to win, Isla hisses. Her claws dig into Morag's neck, drawing blood. You don't get the power, the king, the destiny. You're nothing. You've always been nothing. Morag's vision swims. Oxygen cuts off. The silver flames sputter. She's drowning in her cousin's hatred and can't find the strength to fight back. Because maybe Isla's right. Maybe she is nothing. Just a mistake with delusions of grandeur. Then she hears it. Hamish's voice, not spoken, projected directly into her mind through the bond she didn't know was strong enough for telepathy. You are not nothing. You are everything. Fight! Morag! Fight! Something inside her snaps, not breaks, ignites. The silver flames don't just flare. They transcend, become something more than fire, more than power. They become judgment. Morag's eyes open, pure silver, glowing bright enough to blind. When she speaks, it's not just her voice. It's layered, echoing with the voices of every warden who came before. Elspeth, the nameless ones who held the line across centuries, all of them speaking through her. You do not touch my Alpha. The power detonates, not an explosion, a cleansing. Silver flames pour from Morag's body in waves. They don't burn randomly. They seek, target, distinguish friend from enemy with surgical precision. The wolves attacking Hamish are thrown back, slammed into walls, held immobile by threads of silver light. Isla's eyes widen. For the first time, Morag sees genuine fear in her cousin's face. Impossible. Nothing about me has ever been possible, Morag says. Her hand shoots up, closes around Isla's wrist. The silver flames transfer, wrap around her cousin like restraints made of pure power. But I'm done apologizing for existing. She rips Isla away from her throat, throws her across the room with strength that shouldn't exist in a human body. Isla crashes into ancient stone and crumples. The remaining wolves bolt. Run. Self-preservation overriding orders. Silence falls. Just breathing. Just the crackle of silver flames slowly dying down to embers. Hamish shifts back to human form. Blood streams from a dozen wounds. But he's alive. Standing. Staring at Morag with something between awe and terror. What did you do? He whispers. Morag looks at her hands. Still glowing. Still humming with power that's no longer wild. No longer uncontrolled. I remembered, she says quietly. Remembered what it means to be a warden. To choose who lives and who burns. She walks to Isla. Her cousin groans. Tries to move. Can't. The silver bindings hold her immobile. Morag kneels. Looks into eyes that have mocked her since childhood. I could kill you, she says conversationally. The power wants to. It's begging me to let it consume you completely. Isla's breath comes in panic gasps. But I won't. Morag stands. Because I'm not you. I don't destroy people just because I can. I protect them from themselves. She looks at Hamish. At her Alpha. At the man who hesitated but ultimately chose her anyway. Take her to the council. Morag says, voice steady, powerful. Let them judge her treachery. I'm done carrying other people's hatred. Hamish nods slowly, respect and something deeper shining in his amber eyes. As you command, my warden. Those words settle over Morag like a crown. Heavy, undeniable, real. She's not running anymore, not hiding, not apologizing for the flame burning in her blood. Morag MacDougall has finally remembered what she was always meant to be. And heaven help anyone who tries to extinguish her now. Chapter 8. The kiss breaks worlds. Not metaphorically. Actually breaks them. The barrier between mortal realm and the ancient wolf territories shatters like glass. Silver light pours through cracks in reality itself. The Highland Council Hall, built to withstand centuries, trembles down to its foundations. Morag feels it happening, feels dimensions collapsing and reforming, feels the old magic recognizing what she and Hamish are doing, completing a bond that was supposed to be completed 300 years ago but got cut short by death and grief and time. When they finally pull apart, gasping, the world has changed. Hamish's eyes are no longer just amber. They are molten gold, burning with power that's been dormant since Elspeth died. The Alpha King fully restored, fully awakened, no longer just surviving but thriving with his warden finally at his side. Around them, wolves drop to their knees, not out of fear, out of recognition. out of instinct so deep it predates conscious thought. Their king has returned. Fenella stays from where silver chains still bind her. Her expression shifts through shock, rage, and finally, reluctant respect. Impossible, she breathes. The bonding ritual takes days, requires ceremony, blood sacrifice. Required, Morag corrects. Her voice echoes with laid power, past tense, because I just rewrote the rules. She steps away from Hamish, stands alone in the center of the hall. The silver flames don't diminish. If anything, they grow stronger, more controlled, dancing around her like loyal servants waiting for commands. The crescent mark on her wrist blazes, but it's not just a mark anymore. It's spreading. Silver patterns crawl up her arm, ancient runes writing themselves on her skin. The language of the first wardens. The original contract between human magic and wolf nature. An old woman steps forward from the council, bent with age, eyes clouded white, but when she speaks, her voice carries absolute authority. The prophecy, she whispers, it's not what we thought. Every eye turns to her. We believed the warden would crown the king or consume the world. Binary, one or the other. She reaches out with a gnarled hand, touches Morag's glowing arm. But the true prophecy, the one written before language existed, says something different. Silence holds the whole captive. The warden and king are not separate. They are dual, two halves of one power. When they unite, they don't just rule. They transform, become something neither human nor wolf, something in between, something that can hold the balance we lost. Morag's breath catches. She looks at Hamish, sees understanding dawn in his restored eyes. We're not meant to repeat history, she says slowly. We're meant to rewrite it. The old woman nods. Elspeth fought alone because she believed that's what wardens do. Bear the weight, shoulder the burden, protect at any cost. Her milky eyes somehow find Hamish. And you let her, because you believed that's what kings do. Accept sacrifice, carry guilt, lead from behind walls of grief. Hamish flinches, truth landing like physical blows. But you, the woman, turns back to Morag. You refuse to die for him. And that changes everything. Morag feels the words settling into her bones, becoming doctrine, becoming the new way forward. She walks to Fenella, the silver chains holding her enemy glow brighter with proximity. You were right about one thing, Morag says quietly. The old laws were flawed. Wardens did take too much control, made wolves into subjects instead of partners. Fenella's eyes narrow, suspicious of where this is going. So here's the new law. Morag's voice rises, carries to every wolf in the hall, every human, every creature caught between worlds. No more wardens standing alone. No more alpha kings bearing crowns in isolation. From now on, we lead together, humans and wolves, magic and nature, balanced through partnership, not domination. She gestures and the silver chains dissolve. Fenella stumbles forward, free but wary. You tried to kill me, Morag continues. Tried to prevent something you thought would enslave your people. I understand that. I don't forgive it, but I understand. Fenella rubs her wrists, stares at this woman who should be her enemy but is offering something else entirely. What are you saying? I'm saying join us. Morag extends her hand, palm up, offering, not as subjects, as equals. Help build the new order, where wolves govern themselves but wardens keep the peace, where power is shared instead of hoarded. The hall erupts, arguments, shouts, the conservative elders objecting, the younger wolves intrigued, chaos threatening to consume the fragile moment. Hamish moves, doesn't shift, doesn't need to. His presence alone commands attention. When he speaks, every voice dies. Morag is right. He stands beside her, not in front, not behind, beside, equal. I've spent 3 centuries clinging to the old ways because I thought that's how I honored Elspeth's memory. But she didn't die to preserve tradition. She died hoping for evolution. His amber eyes scan the crowd. We have a chance to be what she imagined, what she couldn't live to see. A world where wardens and wolves don't just coexist, they thrive together. He looks at Fenella. Your people have legitimate grievances. The old laws were too rigid, too punishing. We'll address that. Rebuild from the ground up. But his voice hardens. Alpha command bleeding through. Anyone who threatens my warden threatens me. Anyone who tries to return to chaos will answer to both of us. Together, united, unstoppable. The power in those words reverberates through the hall, through the bond connecting every wolf present to their king. They feel it, the change, the shift in fundamental reality. Fenella stands silent, weighing, calculating. Finally, she inclines her head. Not submission. Acknowledgement. I'll consider your offer, warden. She glances at her scattered pack. But my wolves need time. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. Neither is a new world, Morag replies. But we start now, today, in this hall where everything almost ended but instead transformed. She turns to face the full council, humans and wolves, old and young, believers and skeptics. I am Morag MacDougall. I didn't choose this power, didn't ask for this destiny. For 23 years, I ran from what I am because everyone told me it was wrong, evil, dangerous. The silver flames pulse brighter with each word. But I'm done running, done hiding, done apologizing for existing. I am the last warden of the silver flame, and I will use this power to protect, not control, to balance, not dominate, to build something better than what came before. She reaches for Hamish's hand. Their fingers intertwine. Silver and gold light merge where they touch. And I will do it beside my alpha, my partner, my equal. Hamish raises their joined hands, presents them to the council like a banner, like a declaration. The old age is dead, he announces. Long live the new order. For a moment, nothing happens. The hall holds its breath. Then, slowly, wolves begin to kneel. Not in submission, in acceptance, in hope. The humans follow. Even the skeptical elders bow their heads, recognizing inevitability, recognizing that whatever just happened in this hall cannot be revised. Isla, still cowering in her corner, watches with pure hatred burning in her eyes. But she's powerless now, exposed. Her wolves fled. Her schemes collapsed. Morag meets her cousin's gaze, holds it, and in that moment communicates everything words cannot. I won, not because I destroyed you, because I became what you could never be, someone worth following. The old woman who spoke the prophecy approaches, places gnarled hands on both Morag and Hamish. The bonding is incomplete, she says softly. You've merged souls, merged power, but the final step requires blood, his and yours, mixed and sealed under the moon that witnessed the Feist oath. Morag's pulse quickens. What does that mean? The woman's blind eyes somehow convey ancient knowing. It means tonight, under the full moon, you complete what Elspeth and Hamish began. You become not just partners, not just mates, but one entity in two bodies, feeling each other's pain, sharing each other's strength, living and dying as a single force. Hamish's grip on Morag's hand tightens. The true bond. Yes. The woman steps back. The moon rises in 3 hours. Prepare yourselves, because once this is done, there is no separation, no divorce, no escape. You are bound until death. And even then, her smile is mysterious. The bond may persist. She melts back into the crowd, leaving Morag and Hamish standing in the center of a hall full of witnesses. 3 hours until everything becomes permanent. 3 hours until Morag MacDougall stops being just herself and becomes half of something infinitely more powerful. She should be terrified. Instead, when she looks at Hamish, at the man who hesitated but ultimately chose her, who's offering her not just protection but partnership, who sees her as she is and wants her anyway. She feels only certainty. 3 hours, she says. Hamish's smile is slow, predatory, devastating. Then we should stop wasting time. He pulls her close, kisses her again, slower this time, deeper, a promise of what's coming when the moon rises and the final ritual begins. Around them, the council disperses, giving them privacy, giving them space to prepare for a bonding that will reshape the supernatural world. But Morag and Hamish don't move, don't separate, just stand wrapped in each other while silver and gold light dances between them. The girl who was mocked for marrying a homeless man has claimed an Alpha King, and the king who waited 3 centuries has finally found his flame. Now they just have to survive making it permanent. Chapter 9. The moon rises like a silver eye opening over the highland peaks. Full, ancient, watching. Morag stands at the edge of the sacred grove where Elspeth died 300 years ago. She can feel it, the residual power soaked into soil and stone. The echo of that final sacrifice still bleeding through time. She's wearing white, not a wedding dress. Something simpler. Linen that moves with the wind. Bare feet on earth that remembers every warden who walked before her. Hamish approaches from the darkness, shirtless, scarred, the binding mark between his shoulders glowing faint amber. He moves like shadow given form, like inevitability wearing skin. They meet in the center of the grove, where moonlight pools like liquid silver, where the veil between worlds grows thin enough to tear. No witnesses. The council stayed behind. This moment belongs only to them. Hamish's eyes find hers, amber burning with barely contained hunger, with 3 centuries of loneliness finally ending, with hope so desperate it borders on pain. Last chance to run, he says, voice rough. Once we do this, there's no going back. You'll feel every wound I take, every death I witness through the binding mark. Every burden I carry will become yours too. Morag steps closer, close enough to feel heat radiating off his skin, close enough to see the vulnerability behind his strength. And you'll feel mine, she counters. Every nightmare about the family that rejected me, every moment of self-hatred I've swallowed, every time the flame burns too hot and threatens to consume me from inside. She places her palm over his heart, feels it beating, strong, alive, real. I'm not afraid of your darkness. Hamish, are you afraid of mine? His hand covers hers, presses it harder against his chest, terrified. The honesty breaks something open between them, because they are not pretending anymore, not hiding behind destiny or prophecy or the roles they are supposed to play. They are just 2 broken people choosing to be broken together. Hamish produces a blade. Ancient, silver, the same one used for every bonding in his bloodline across millennia. He draws it across his palm. Blood wells, dark against pale moonlight. He offers the blade to Morag. Handle first. Her hand trembles as she takes it. The weight feels enormous. Final. She mirrors his action, drags silver across her palm. Pain flays. Her blood is brighter than his, redder, human in ways his hasn't been for centuries. They clasp hands, blood mixing, seeping between their fingers. The moment their wounds touch, power detonates. Not violent, transcendent. Silver and amber light explodes outward, wraps around them like living vines, binding, connecting, fusing souls that were meant to find each other across impossible distances. Morag gasps. She feels him, actually feels him. His grief, his hope, his bone-deep terror that she'll vanish like Elspeth did. She feels 300 years of survival without purpose crashing through her nervous system. And Hamish feels her, feels 23 years of shame, of being told she was wrong, cursed, dangerous, feels the silver flame burning in her blood, not destroying, but protecting, defending, becoming exactly what it was always meant to be. The bond settles, locks into place, changes them on a molecular level. When Morag opens her eyes, the world looks different, sharper, She can smell things she couldn't before, hear the heartbeat of creatures miles away, see in darkness that should be impenetrable. Wolf senses, his senses, shared through the bond. Hamish stares at his hands. Silver light flickers around his fingers. Warden power. Her power, given freely, merged completely. I can feel the flame, he whispers, awed, terrified. It's burning in me now too. Morak touches his face, thumbs brushing cheekbones, feeling the scruff of his beard, the warmth of his skin, the reality of him. We're not two anymore, she says softly. We're one. One force. One power. One chance to get this right. Hamish pulls her against him, crushes her to his chest. His face buries in her hair. She feels his shoulders shaking, feels wetness on her scalp that might be tears. 300 years of holding everything in. 300 years of being strong, being alone, being the king who couldn't afford weakness. And finally, he breaks. Morak holds him, wraps her arms around this impossible man and lets him shatter in her embrace. Because that's what the bond means. Not just sharing strength, sharing vulnerability, sharing the pieces too broken to show anyone else. They sink to the ground together, still wrapped around each other. The moon watches, the earth remembers, and two souls fractured by time and trauma begin the slow process of becoming whole. Hamish pulls back eventually. His eyes are red, raw, but clearer than she's ever seen them. I loved her, he says, needs to say it. Elspeth, I loved her with everything I had, and losing her broke me in ways I'm still discovering. Morak nods, doesn't flinch, doesn't pull away. But you're not her, Hamish continues. His hands frame her face, hold her like she's the most precious thing in existence. You're Morak, stubborn, terrified, powerful in ways you don't even understand yet. And I. His voice cracks. He swallows hard, tries again. I'm falling in love with you, not because you remind me of her, but because you're nothing like her, because you challenge me, question me, refuse to let me hide behind guilt and grief, because you see the monster I've become and choose me anyway. Morak's breath catches. Tears blur her vision, because nobody has ever said those words to her. Nobody has ever chosen her, not despite her flaws, but because of them. I don't know how to be loved, she admits, voice breaking. Everyone who was supposed to love me threw me away. I don't know if I'm capable of. Hamish kisses her, cuts off the lie before it can fully form. His lips are gentle, patient, worshipping. When he pulls back, he's smiling. Sad, beautiful, real. Then I'll teach you, the same way you're teaching me how to live again instead of just survive. The bond pulses between them, silver and amber light dancing, celebrating, sealing the promise they are making. Morak kisses him back, harder, desperate, pouring everything she can't say into the press of lips and tongue and teeth. Hamish responds with equal intensity. 3 centuries of starvation finally being fed. Hands grip, bodies pressed together. The space between them disappears. They make love under the full moon, on earth that remembers Elspeth's sacrifice, surrounded by silver light and amber fire and the ghost of a woman who died so this moment could exist. It's not gentle, not careful. It's raw, primal. 2 people claiming each other with everything they have, erasing the loneliness, filling the void, becoming something neither could be alone. When it's over, when they lie tangled together breathing hard, Morak feels different, complete, like a puzzle piece that finally found where it belongs. Hamish traces patterns on her bare shoulder, his touch reverent, possessive, protective. My warden, he murmurs. My wife. My everything. Morak turns in his arms, meets his glowing amber eyes. My alpha. My husband. My choice. The moon approves. The earth witnesses. The bond settles into permanence. And somewhere in the grove, where silver light still glimmers, Elspeth's spirit smiles. Because the king she loved has finally found peace. The warden gift she sacrificed for has finally found its keeper. The world they fought for has finally found balance. 300 years of waiting. 300 years of grief. 300 years of searching. All leading to this moment. This bond. This impossible, beautiful, terrifying love. Morag MacDougall was mocked for marrying a homeless man. Her family called her insane. Her cousin tried to destroy her. The world told her she was making the biggest mistake of her life. They were wrong. All of them. Because she didn't marry a homeless man. She married an Alpha King. A legend. A force of nature who'd been waiting centuries for someone exactly like her. And together, bound by blood and silver flame and the kind of love that transcends lifetimes, they are going to reshape the supernatural world. But first, they are going to lie under the stars. Feel each other breathing. Let the bond settle into their bones. Tomorrow, they lead. Tomorrow, they fight. Tomorrow, they build the new order. Tonight, they are just Morag and Hamish. Two people who found each other against impossible odds. Two souls who refused to let the world extinguish their flames. And that's enough. That's everything. That's the beginning of a legend that will burn for centuries. The moon watches them sleep, wrapped in each other, wrapped in silver and amber light, wrapped in the promise that this time, this lifetime, love wins, power serves, and the warden and the Alpha King reign together. Forever. Chapter 10. Dawn breaks over the highlands. Soft, deceptive, the kind of morning that promises peace but delivers something else entirely. Morag wakes wrapped in Hamish's arms. The bond hums between them. Steady, present. She can feel his heartbeat like it's her own. Feel his breath matching hers. Two bodies. One rhythm. She should feel safe. Complete. Victorious. Instead, her skin prickles with awareness. Something's wrong. Hamish stays. His eyes open, amber bleeding into consciousness. He feels it too. Through the bond. Through instincts honed across 3 centuries of survival. "We being watched," he murmurs against her hair. Morag sits up. Scans the grove. Nothing visible. Just trees. Shadows. Morning mist rolling through ancient stones. But the air tastes wrong. Metallic. Charged. Like the moment before lightning strikes. Hamish is already moving. Shifting partially. Senses extending beyond human limitations. His nostrils flare. Pupils dilate. Reading information written in scent and sound. Then he goes absolutely still. The kind of stillness that precedes violence. "Run," he says, voice flat. Dead calm. "Right now. Don't stop. Don't look back." Morag's pulse spikes. "What did you?" The forest explodes. Not metaphorically. Trees shatter. Earth erupts. Something massive crashes through the undergrowth with enough force to shake the ground beneath their feet. Morag sees it. Sees them. Wolves. But wrong. Twisted. Their fur is matted with something darker than blood. Their eyes glow red, not amber, not natural, but burning with infection. With corruption. With hunger that goes beyond flesh. Shadow wolves. The ancient enemy Hamish mentioned. The ones who were supposed to be sealed away. Destroyed. They are here. They are real. And they are coming. Hamish shifts fully. The transformation is instant. Brutal. His human form tears away and the black wolf erupts. Massive. Powerful. An alpha in his prime with centuries of battle experience flooding through muscle memory. He plants himself between Morag and the approaching nightmare. Teeth bared. A warning growl that vibrates through the earth itself. The shadow wolves stop. Just stop. 20 paces away. Circling. Assessing. Then one steps forward. Larger than the others. Its red eyes fixed on Morag with intelligence that shouldn't exist in a beast. When it speaks, the voice is wrong. Lead. Multiple tones woven together like a chorus of the damned. The warden awakens. We felt her burn across the veil. Felt the old power rising. Morag's blood turns to ice. Because wolves don't speak. Not like this. Not in human language with human malice. What are you? She breathes. The creature's lips peel back, revealing teeth too sharp. Too many. Arranged in rows like a shark. We are what happens when wolves reject the natural order, when they embrace the void beyond the veil, when they become something better than what nature intended. It takes another step. Hamish's growl intensifies, warning, promising death. But the shadow wolf doesn't retreat, just tilts its head, studying Morag like she's a specimen. A curiosity. Prey. Elspeth sealed us away, trapped us in darkness for 3 centuries. But seals weaken, bonds fray. And when you completed the ritual last night, when you merged Warden Flame with Alpha Power, you created a beacon. The creature's smile is obscene, impossible on a wolf's face. You showed us exactly where to strike, exactly how to break free. So thank you, little Warden. Thank you for lighting the way home. Horror floods Morag's system. Understanding crashes through her like physical impact. They did this, she and Hamish, by bonding, by completing the ritual. They didn't just unite their power. They tore open the seal, keeping these things contained. No, she whispers. That's not. We didn't. Intent doesn't matter. Only consequence. The shadow wolf's eyes blaze brighter. And the consequence is this: we're free. We're hungry. And we're going to tear your new world apart before it even begins. The pack moves as one, surging forward, no longer circling, attacking. Hamish meets them head-on, a black blur of fangs and fury. He takes down the first attacker with brutal efficiency, jaws closing around a corrupted throat, ripping, tearing. But there are too many. They swarm him, drag him down through sheer numbers. Morag screams. The silver flames erupt, not controlled, not directed, just raw terror channeled into destructive force. The blast catches 3 shadow wolves. They shriek, a sound that shouldn't come from any living thing, and dissolve, not dying, unmade, reduced to ash and shadow that disperses on the wind. The rest retreat, momentarily, reassessing the threat. Their leader regards Morag with something like respect, like hunger. They it is, the flame that burned our ancestors, the power that sealed us. It licks its muzzle. Delicious. Hamish struggles free. Blood streams from dozens of wounds. The shadow wolf's bites aren't healing. The flesh around each tear looks infected, blackened,